Hey everyone, if you're here by accident or you're actively searching for the truth about military firearms, you've landed in the right place. What you're about to read will completely change how you see the world of sniping and designated marksmanship. This isn't dry theory, it's the hard truth based on experience, analysis, and real-world context. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below with your thoughts after you finish. Your feedback is the fuel for future deep dives. We've got some shocking topics coming up. Breakdowns of new generation weapons, urban survival tactics, and the stuff official sources won't talk about. Don't miss out. Introducing a legend. Why asking if the SVD is obsolete is really a question about ourselves. You know that feeling when you look at an old, trusty tool? Say, your grandfather's hammer. The handle is worn, the metal has a few rust spots, but it still sits perfectly in your hand and drives nails true every time. Now imagine a brand new, shiny, super ergonomic titanium hammer sitting right next to it. Which one do you choose? The one that just works, or the one that's supposed to work perfectly according to the spec sheet? That's exactly the situation with the Dragunov sniper rifle, the famous SVD. I've been hearing talk about it being obsolete since the days of the Cold War. Decades have passed, eras have changed, political systems have fallen, technology has leaped forward. But the SVD? It's still here. It served in Afghanistan, fought through 2 Chechen wars, appeared in Middle Eastern conflicts, and is now actively used in the war in Ukraine. Yeah, it's been upgraded. The SVDS and the SVDM exist. But the critics aren't satisfied. They sound like a broken record. It's obsolete. It's not a real sniper rifle. It's a fishing pole. But what if I told you the question, is the SVD obsolete, is a trap? It's a question asked by the wrong people for the wrong reasons. It makes us focus on the shiny wrapper, not the substance. Today, we're not just going to answer it. We're going to dig so deep that we'll hit the fundamental problems of an entire defense industry. We'll figure out not only what this rifle is today, but also understand why replacing it isn't a matter of desire, but a monstrous economic and technological puzzle. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. We're stripping away the layers and telling it like it is. What is the SVD, really? Deconstructing a zoo of modifications. The first and biggest misconception is to talk about the SVD as a single, unified thing. That's like saying car, and meaning both a beat-up old Lada and a brand-new, tuned Porsche. When someone says the SVD is bad, always ask, which exact SVD are you talking about? Let's break down this beast into its categories. The stock SVD, aka the grandfather. This is the original model from 1963. The one you pull from storage depots, made in various years, from the relatively decent 70s to the chaotic 90s. Imagine a wooden, often plywood stock, a non-adjustable buttstock, the classic dovetail rail for the scope, and the legendary PSO-1 optic. Its main, and perhaps only, pros are its phenomenal reliability, tested by time, and its fairly moderate weight. It will fire even if you drop it in mud, sand, and water. It's like Granddad's hammer, almost impossible to kill. The tuned SVD. This is a whole universe. From simply swapping out an uncomfortable pistol grip or adding a cheek riser to a deep custom overhaul. They replace the stock with a modern polymer chassis with Picatinny rails, install folding and adjustable stocks, mount new barrels, muzzle brakes and compensators, cans, and new trigger groups. Essentially, they turn an old SVD into a 21st century rifle. There are dozens of variations. Their results are different. Very different. The SVDS, Folding Sniper. This is an official military modernization. The key new feature is a side-folding stock and polymer furniture. The goal was to make the rifle more compact for paratroopers and vehicle crews. Mission accomplished, but the ergonomics of the folding stock leave a lot to be desired. The SVDM modernized. This is the peak of the classic SVD's evolution in an official package. Here, we get the most important upgrade, a free-floated barrel. What does that mean? Before, the barrel lay along the entire length of the wooden stock, which interfered with its vibrations and hurt accuracy. Now, the barrel is attached only at the receiver and hangs freely, not touching any other part. This is a direct path to better precision. They added a heavy profile barrel, less heat drift, Picatinny rails for mounting any modern optic, and adjustable stock and standard issue detachable bipods. See, we're already looking at least 4 different SVDs. And if you count custom tuning, that's several dozen. And each one will deliver different results. Comparing them to some ideal from an internet expert's imagination is a completely pointless exercise. The original sin of the stock SVD. Why get so much hate? Let's be real. Let's take the most basic stock SVD from a warehouse, let's say made in the 90s. Why does it have so many flaws? Let's list them like we're on a firing range. Key complaints. Poor accuracy. This is the main point of contention. Accuracy is a rifle's ability to put bullets close together. It's measured in minutes of angle, MOA. The ideal is 1 MOA. A stock SVD often delivers 1.5, 2, or even more. Why? The concept. The SVD is a semi-automatic rifle. It has a gas piston that taps gas from the barrel to cycle the action. This system introduces additional vibrations and movement that inevitably slightly reduce accuracy compared to bolt-action rifles, where the barrel and action are a single, rigid system. Non-free floated barrel. In the stock version, the barrel presses against the wooden stock, which can swell, shrink, and put pressure on the barrel. Every shot is a vibration transmitted unpredictably through the wood. Thin barrel, made that way for lightness. But during rapid fire, 10 to 15 shots quickly, the barrel gets very hot. The metal expands, and the point of impact starts to walk. A sniper who made 3 sighting shots and hit the target might miss by the 5th or 6th shot due to heat. Manufacturing quality. This is especially true for rifles made after 1975 and, most definitely, the wild 90s. Technologies were simplified, quality control dropped. Barrels could have defects. No bipod. Shooting from a rest is always more stable than offhand. Problematic ergonomics. The buttstock is non-adjustable. It's one size fits all. Whether you're a tall or short guy, you have to adapt. No adjustable cheek piece means an unstable head weld, which again hurts accuracy. The pistol grip isn't the most comfortable. Overall bulkiness, carrying a long rifle in combat, especially in urban terrain, is no picnic. Mentally outdated mounting system. The dovetail rail is like an old proprietary phone charger port. Yeah, it works, but the world moved to USB-C, which in our case is the Picatinny rail. The selection of optics for the dovetail is very limited today. The PSO-1 is a legendary scope, but its optics and magnification capabilities can't compete with modern models. It seems like a bleak picture, so why hasn't it been scrapped? Because this picture has a bright side that critics deliberately ignore, namely, reliability and affordability. And these aren't just words. They are key factors in a war where gear breaks, gets dirty, is lost, and the budget isn't infinite. The economic reality check. The cost of a round, or why we can't afford something new. Let's step away from tactics and look at things from an economic perspective. War isn't just about heroism. It's also about money. A lot of money. The 7.62x50 4 MMR cartridge. This is our everything and our curse. It's over 100 years old. It's older than your great-grandfather. It was designed for the Imperial Mosin-Nagant rifle, and it's still in service. Why? Price. Production of these rounds is established at numerous factories. Casings, primers, powder, bullets, all are produced in colossal volumes. The cost of one round, a standard one, not a sniper grade, might be, say, 25 cents. A sniper round, 7-in-1, is more expensive, but still incomparably cheaper than Western counterparts. Infrastructure. Imagine we make a decision. That's it. Starting tomorrow, we're switching to a new cartridge, say .338 Lapua Magnum. What needs to be done? Build or retool factories for producing the new casings. Set up production for new bullets. Create from scratch or buy a production line for specialized powders. Rebuild the entire logistics chain: warehouses, transport, inventory management. Retrain the entire force. This would take years and trillions of rubles. And now the main question: who's going to give us those years of peace to rearm? Is the enemy going to wait? No. The war is happening now. Spending astronomical sums to completely replace a cartridge when there are billions of the old ones in warehouses is economic suicide. The cost of training. A sniper isn't someone who shoots well. It's someone who shoots perfectly. And for that, you need thousands, tens of thousands of rounds per year in training. If a new cartridge costs as much as a nice dinner out, and .338 Lapua Magnum starts at around $70 per round and goes up, then there can be no talk of mass sniper training. The command simply won't allocate that kind of money. It's better to have 1,000 snipers shooting cheap, inconsistent ammo than 10 shooting super-duper ammo. Because in war, quantity has a quality all its own. The Economist's conclusion: the 7.62x 54 mmR cartridge is not a choice. It's a necessity dictated by decades of accumulated stockpiles, established production, and an insanely low price. It's our ace in the hole and our cage at the same time. The big secret: powder and the curse of precision. Now we're getting to the most painful part, the thing they don't talk about on the news, but what people whisper about on ranges and in training grounds. The main problem with Russian precision shooting isn't even the rifle. It's the gunpowder. You heard that right. Seems like such a mundane thing, right? Remember we talked about poor accuracy? Well, one of the main reasons is the inconsistent burn rate of domestic powder. What does that mean in simple terms? Two cartridges from the same lot, fired from the same barrel, by the same shooter, with the same scope, can have a different muzzle velocity. Let's say in the first shot, the powder burned a little faster and the bullet left at 2,700 feet per second. In the second, it burned a little slower and the velocity was 2,690 feet per second. A difference of 10 feet per second, and your bullet at 500 yards will land a foot or more lower or higher. Goodbye, tight grouping. Goodbye, precise hit. And this is the birth defect of the Russian military-industrial complex. Problems with raw material quality, mixing technologies, and batch control. This affects not just sniper rounds, but standard ones too. There are so-called selected rounds, but they are rare and still lag behind Western counterparts in consistency. So what's the bottom line? You can spend millions developing a new super rifle. You could buy the best scopes in the world. You could select the sharpest shooters. But if the cartridge has inconsistent powder, all that effort goes down the drain. The bullet will walk. And this is a systemic problem that can't be solved by changing the rifle. That's why, when you hear about the new Chikavan rifle, SVCH, being adopted, know this: it's chambered for the same old 7.62x 54 mmR round. Because creating a new rifle is easier than rebuilding an entire country's powder industry. Sniper or designated marksman. The philosophical debate that changes everything. Now let's dispel the biggest conceptual misconception. In Russian forces, anyone with a long rifle and a scope is called a sniper. And this is the root of all evil and all the arguments. In the West, there's been a clear distinction for a long time. Sniper. This is a specialist of the highest caliber. He works in a team with a spotter, far from the main forces. His tasks: precision elimination of high-value targets, officers, ADGM crews, communicators at long ranges, 1,000 yards and beyond. His weapon is typically a heavy bolt-action chambered for powerful cartridges like .338 Lapua Magnum or .50 BMG. Designated marksman, DM. This is a rifleman within a standard infantry squad or platoon. His task is to support his unit with accurate fire at distances beyond the effective range of the regular rifleman, from 300 to 600, sometimes 800 yards. Take out machine gun nest, an enemy grenadier, or an opposing sniper. He does not need ultra-long-range shooting. He needs rate of fire, reliability, and the ability to operate in the thick of the fight. So, the SVD is the weapon of a designated marksman, not a sniper. And once we understand this, 90% of the criticism against the SVD falls apart. It's pointless to demand the speed and comfort of a Ferrari from a UAZ low fan. They were built for different jobs. The SVD in the designated marksman role is excellent. Why? Rate of fire. The semi-automatic action allows for a fast follow-up shot without leaving the scope. Missed, quickly adjust, and fire again. With a bolt action, this is much harder. Reliability. In dust, mud, and after rough handling, it keeps going. Ammunition commonality. A DM can carry a lot of ammo without worrying that his loadout costs as much as a car. Moderate weight, which leads us to our next crucial point. Real-world combat. Why in a trench, the SVD is more valuable than a Lobayev. Imagine real war. Not shooting at paper targets on a pristine range, but urban combat, fighting in trenches, moving across fields under fire. The designated marksman is just another grunt. He runs, digs, assaults, and defends. Now imagine you gave him, instead of an SVD weighing around 9.5 pounds, a heavy bolt action like a Lobayev rifle, weighing 15 to 17 pounds without ammo and optic. And he still needs to carry his primary assault rifle, an AK-74M, another 7.7 pounds, body armor, a radio, water, a medkit, and ammo for his rifle. Do you want your soldier, who needs to be mobile and fast, to carry 30 to 40 pounds of just weapons? He'll just collapse from exhaustion after the first half mile of movement. With the SVD, it's simpler. It's light enough. But the key is that in close quarters, inside a building, while working with his squad, the DM can fall back and use his assault rifle. If he only had a heavy bolt action, he'd be practically helpless in CQB. Therefore, for line infantry, the SVD is a sensible, balanced, and optimal choice. Not perfect, but optimal when you consider the total package: cost, reliability, weight, and effectiveness at typical engagement distances. And what about them? It's not all sunshine and rainbows overseas. The critics' favorite argument. But over there, look, the American M110. Now, that's a rifle. Let's take a look. The M110, based on the AR-10 platform, was adopted by the U.S. Army in 2007 specifically as a designated marksman rifle. And what happened? Well, here's what the U.S. military itself says in its own reports. Low reliability. The direct impingement gas system, where propellant gases are routed directly into the bolt carrier group, is very sensitive to fouling. Sand, dust, and the rifle starts to jam. Low service life. A design originally scaled for the low-power 5.56mm round struggles to handle the more powerful 7.62 by 51mm NATO. Parts were out quickly. Cannibalization. Due to a lack of spare parts, units had to strip some rifles to repair others. Insufficient accuracy. Yes, you heard that right. Official reports stated that the M110 often failed to meet its stated accuracy requirements. The very thing our experts love to praise. And the result? The U.S. Army is now actively looking for a replacement for the M110. They're shifting to German HK417s, experimenting again. The problems are the same: reliability, accuracy, durability. The moral of the story is simple. Don't blindly worship the West. They have their own rakes, which they step on with no less enthusiasm. And their DMRs are far from ideal. The verdict. So, is the SVD obsolete? The final conclusion. Let's put all the cards on the table. The stock SVD model from 1963 is obsolete. Its accuracy and ergonomics don't meet modern requirements. even for a designated marksman. The SVDM and tuned SVDs are perfectly adequate. They fulfill the needs of a designated marksman in a combined arms fight at distances up to 600 to 800 meters, approximately 650 to 870 yards. The accuracy problem hasn't vanished, but it's offset by the rate of fire, reliability, and low cost per round. The main enemy of Russian precision shooting is not the SVD, but the powder and quality control of the ammunition. Until this systemic issue is solved, it's pointless to expect miracles from any rifle, no matter how advanced. The rifle within the system is not the weakest link. The weakest link is often the low training level of the marksmen themselves and line units. Even a stock SVD is capable of more than what the average soldier, after a short sniper course, can squeeze out of it. So what's the path forward? Massively introduce the SVDM into the troops, phasing out the old models. Systematically approach tuning, standardizing the best solutions instead of leaving it to chance. Adopt modern domestic optics for the Picatinny rail. Pay maximum attention to training designated marksmen, increasing live-fire practice, and slowly but surely solve the powder problem. Without this, all other steps are half measures. The old lady SVD, especially in its SVDM guise, will remain a threat on the battlefield for a long time to come, right where it's needed, in the hands of the soldier covering his buddies. It's not a work of art, but a faithful and reliable workhorse. And in war, believe me, that counts for a whole lot more. So folks, what's your take? Do you agree with the conclusions? Or do you have a different perspective? We really want to hear from you. So please leave a comment below and let us know. Your experience and your thoughts are priceless. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive. We're already working on a breakdown of next generation small arms that will shock a lot of people. Stay tuned.